Please insert drink and hit play. Hey guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another episode of BlueRayDismay. Today we are doing a shot of The Irishman, and I have my two counterparts with me.
The Right Honorable Javier Ian Marcellus Ignatius II Esquire, rested, refreshed, and ready.
Jimmy! Back from Kentucky.
Yeah. And Bruno Diaz, a.k.a. Johnny C., a.k.a. Johnny Walker.
Johnny Walker. All right, guys.
This
today,
is a fifth of, not a shot of.
I'm sorry. You are correct. We are doing a fifth of The Irishman,
Full
which
review.
includes spoilers.
Yeah, full review, full spoilers.
Spoilers incoming.
Yes, The Irishman, which is an exclusive on Netflix. It was not released to movies, and it was
it was, yeah.
Very limited, though.
really?
Very
Was
limited
it?
theater
Yes,
release
just
in early
barely.
November.
To qualify for its Academy Award nominations.
Which is not, I don't believe in that.
Yeah.
Like you
Don't believe
talk
in
about that later, but if you want to talk about it now, I don't know.
Wait. Say what? What do you mean? You don't believe in that? What?
The Irishman was nominated for several Academy Awards because...
Only because it was released in theaters, only because it wasn't, otherwise it would be under a different category if it was released only under Netflix. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct, yeah. It wouldn't be
Yeah.
eligible otherwise.
Eligible, yeah.
So...
And then I think that's what like a
big
big thing Spielberg was talking about, I think.
Yeah. It's political.
And yeah.
I don't get it. Is it good or not? Right? Tell me. Like,
What do you mean good? We're talking about eligibility, not quality.
It's
all right,
bad.
Is it eligible to be the shit or not?
It is
No,
eligible
it's
to
a
be the
good
shit.
movie. It's a great movie, and it should have not even been in contention to be eligible to not be released in theaters, to be eligible for the Oscars. Like, I feel like it's weird that this movie had to be made the way it was. I agree 100% with Scorsese that this movie, there's an audience for this movie. I, for one, enjoy the Marvel movies as much as I almost enjoy this movie itself at the same time. Like, I understand, like,
So-
from a grown fan watching Goodfellas and his, like, admittedly, a Scorsese fan before I was a Marvel movie
Did Scorsese do Goodfellas?
fan.
I
Yeah.
believe he did, yes.
And, like, yeah.
The point being that the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences
Wouldn't recognize it otherwise.
is nearly 100 years old, more or less, and so their rules are just as antiquated. And so in order to be considered eligible for Oscar nomination, they had to release this movie briefly in theaters for at least a week and then pop it on Netflix.
Yeah, it was only released in theaters for like a couple weeks to like 4 weeks at most, I think. So for that reason, what he just said, to be eligible for award type things, which is ridiculous. And that goes to like a whole Spielberg thing debate also with the Scorsese debate with the movies. And
Well,
all
it's the
that.
whole-
It's a whole thing.
Old Academy, new Academy thing where they're like the Academy feels threatened by Netflix.
This movie is the shit. So why
Yeah.
was it not in the fucking movies?
That's
It wasn't the
everybody's
fucking
problem with
For
it.
4 weeks?
Blink and you'll miss
That's
it.
it?
It wasn't the movie.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
what,
yeah.
for 4 weeks, that's it?
Yeah.
It was mainly promoted as a Netflix movie, I would
Right.
assume.
Yeah.
As most publicly, I would assume.
I heard you paint houses. Anyway, but yeah, it was a thing. It's a thing because Netflix is new media, and Hollywood, as always, is, despite their leanings this way or that way, they always tend conservative when it comes to the art of motion picture sciences. So they're having a trouble difficulty adjusting with the streaming world when they're used to the old film model of distribution.
Yeah.
All right, this movie was 3.5 hours long, and I had to
Yes.
grab my ass pillow on watching
Yeah,
this goddamn
me too.
movie.
Hey,
So-
I agree.
I will point out this movie is the longest we've
right, tell
reviewed
me-
so far.
What?
0.93 her.
I love
Tell me why this
I
movie
love-
is a shit, because I do enjoy this movie. But
I
tell
love
me
this
why
movie.
This movie's a shit. Tell me why. Why?
this movie because it is as long as it is. When I admittedly when I first came onto it, I was like, "Yo, this movie's gonna be like 3.5 hours."
It is 3.5 hours long, and
I was like,
holy shit.
I was like, "Holy crap! This is
Yeah.
an adventure type like movie, like whole
Yeah.
epic like type thing." And at first, like when I came into it, I was like, "Yeah, like how am I gonna sit through this?" Blah blah blah, and like. The Netflix model does add to it, and like I did watch interviews with Scorsese and all that other crap, and like entertainment and all that other stuff, and like where he does talk about it, where he is like you're just allowed to do whatever you want, and I think that adds detrimentally to a little bit like negatively towards this movie.
Who is allowed to do whatever they want? Scorsese?
No,
Or the actors?
Negatively towards the way this movie is perceived is because it's so long and it's so in depth. But he is unhinged and he's unleashed and he's allowed to do whatever he wants, and that's why it is as long
The
as
actors,
it is.
De Niro.
No,
and,
the director is
Scorsese.
This is the director's cut of this movie, and I love that for it because like I was saying, like admittedly when I came in, I was like apprehensive. I was like, yo, this movie's 3.5 hours long, and I was like, how am I gonna sit through this? But when I came in, like I watched it, I was engrossed, yo. I was like literally in it. Like I watched the first. So I separated it into two parts. I watched the first hour and a half to hour and 45 minutes as one part, and then I watched the second half. Literally, I went to work and came back, and then I came home and I watched the second half for the next like hour and 45 minutes.
I also split it in half.
Yeah, so for 2.5 for like 2 hours,
Same
but
here.
it was in the same day.
You're on a
So
weak
it
sauce.
was.
Dude, I know we're weak.
Yeah,
We're
but
old.
but I mean, I had to go. Like I had to go and do so. So like I came
I
back.
had to go to sleep.
Yeah, and I had to go to work, but I came back and I watched the movie, and then like it didn't. And I think like it feels like how you would say like how it would be like detrimental to the movie, how it would be like a negative way to the movie, but I think it almost enhances it, as you would have through today's society, is like have your own intermission to a Netflix movie, to this own epic movie which you would see in the theater, which would have. If it is 3.5 hours
so did
long.
you see this in the theater or no?
No,
You saw
I'm
it
saying
in-house.
I didn't. I saw it in house. Like, admittedly, like I waited.
And you split it in
after-
two.
Yeah, I split it in two. But if it was released in theaters, I could see how it would have an intermission in between it. Yeah. And like I created the own intermission by myself, and like I think that's what the movie wanted me to do at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So it just adds to it. Like it just adds to why this movie.
Javier.
It feels good why this movie's so long. Like it doesn't drag on. Like I was surprised about how easy it was to watch this movie, how long it is.
Javier, is it easy to watch or?
It's easy to watch. It doesn't feel like 3.5 hours. Like I said, it comes in at 0.93 Ben-Hurs.
On the
That's-
Ben-Hur scale.
That's a
Right.
long time.
That's a long movie. It's a lot of movie.
That's
but I was-
probably like
I
the
was-
highest we're gonna get on the Hearst
Yeah,
scale.
pretty much, yeah. But I was able to sit through it all in one sitting, unlike you weaklings. And it wasn't even that difficult. I just sat
It deserved it though. It deserved it.
there. And then
I'm weak.
probably at the 2 hour mark, I went and took a break. But just
How dare you?
No, it's not that I didn't want to. It's that I had to.
went to go take a leak. That's all.
Compared to time.
Johnny
wise.
Walker's weak.
My bladder's not.
No, I
human.
had to go do other stuff, and I came back to it as soon as I could.
No,
No,
always an excuse.
You're watching the movie.
Wow,
You're in the
wow.
movie. You got to watch the movie and be
True.
at the movie.
Yes.
I was there.
But I sat there and watched it all in more or less one sitting, and it was great. I was a little, actually, I was a little off put, honestly. The first hour, I was just trying to get over the weird, like, De Niro and Joe Pesci de-aging CGI.
That's one of the aspects that I got over very quickly.
Yeah,
I-
I don't want to
it
knock
took
on them.
me an
I don't
hour.
want to knock on them because they're older. They are definitely older, and I was trying to overlook that. I didn't want to focus on the fact that they're old as shit.
Yeah.
I wanted
Right.
to really focus on the story, and I
Yeah.
wanted to say, you know what? Everyone ages.
I took it
We're
for
all
what
gonna be there.
I took it for what it was. Yeah.
And I was like, I don't care how
Cynical
they go.
cash grab.
I just care that
No.
I care about the story. And
I understand exactly what he's trying to tell me because I've seen Scorsese movies before, and he's literally working with the same actors that he's worked with before.
the-
And
For
so
half a
I
century.
literally the scening, the fucking the cinematography and everything like that, just like it just reminds you of fucking like Mean Streets or something like that. Like I totally
Right.
understand. what
Mean
it's going
Streets,
for.
DiCaprio? No.
No, De
Party.
Niro. In
No,
the
De Niro.
70s.
Oh,
yeah.
it didn't. Okay. The
The
girl,
point-
Jimmy Hoffa's wife in this movie is actually the same girl, Lois, in Goodfellas, that Ray Liotta in that movie has tasked to like tape massive amounts of coke, and she was like, "Oh, I need my hat. I need my hat." So it was funny to see her in this movie about that
Right.
the hat girl in this movie as Jimmy Hoffa's wife. So that was
Just
kind of
proof that Scorsese likes certain actors and he will
he
keep
sticks to his own. Yeah, he sticks to his own.
Oh, yeah.
He definitely has a
He
repeat of customers.
reuse them. But that's many actors do. Many directors
Right.
do that. The point being is like I could get used sort of to the de-aging thing, but it was really annoying because
He
De Niro's like got a young face on him, but he still moves like an old man.
yeah.
It was like a
Just-
young.
Scorsese's effect, I do. He like, for this movie, he uses the same actors, but he uses them to full effect. I think
it's like Gumby.
he
It's like watching Gumby.
no. I mean, he's using like he's like they're like, oh, it's De Niro and Pacino, and like he's never directed Pacino before, but it feels like he's directed Pacino before.
He hasn't.
No, he hasn't. This is the first time, and like the same time, and this is like his 5th movie with De Niro and Joe Pesci, and like Joe Pesci is a completely different character than he's always been in the other one, and like that's a whole other topic I'll go into in a second, but like. Yeah, I love the fact that he goes into full effect and to his relationship with the actors and the characters and their archetypes, and
Talk to me, hey guys, quick question.
it's all amplified and in the greatest degree.
Because Casino is an awesome movie, Goodfellas is an awesome movie, but I don't believe that those movies are as long as this one, and they cover just as much as ground, if not more. What do you think about that? What do you think about that?
Go ahead.
Well, I wouldn't say like the dramatic structure is just different in this one. It's like a memoir. I mean, Casino and Goodfellas have that aspect to them. And if you notice, Mitch
they're not nearly as long. I don't even think they exceed 3 hours. This is 3.5 hours.
Right. Mitch Pileggi, who wrote the book Wise Guy, upon which Casino was based, was an executive producer for this movie.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And gets some of the same beats, but it just they just take their time about it. And I think that's just maybe Scorsese being maybe slightly self-indulgent, maybe just like stretching out his wings. He's got time to breathe and let this.
Yeah, 3.5 hours. Yeah, he's got time to breathe.
He's building this atmosphere around.
I mean, I had to split this in 2 when I was watching, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's pretty long." Not to say that's not good.
Not to say that I didn't want to, like as you were saying, like oh you couldn't sit through it. Like I literally wanted to. Like that's how much I love this movie. It's like I literally was like about to watch. It was like a Lord of the Rings or something like that. Like I didn't mind.
Or Ben-Hur.
No, I didn't. Like I didn't notice the length. Like I was so engrossed in the movie as it was happening. Like I didn't. The length of the movie wasn't detrimental to my enjoyment of it.
Javier,
it only amplified it only because I knew where it was coming from, because it was a Netflix movie and because of the studios that didn't want to back it.
What would you recommend to those that have maybe not seen Casino or Goodfellas?
Well, watch those first. But then watch this.
It must feel.
That's not a fair.
It feels alienated.
No,
I feel like that's a fair. I feel like
that direction
fair.
is tough, man, because you're telling them to watch 6 hours worth of movie and understand it, and then dissect this one. That's like 10 hours of viewing time.
No, I feel that's fair.
Yeah, it's fair. I mean, because he's clearly building upon that previous.
To be honest with you, if I didn't see those 2 movies before, and someone told me to watch those 2 before this one, I'd be like, you know what? Screw you.
I feel like almost if you watch this one before you watch the other ones, it has
nothing to do with the other ones.
No, I'm saying you would understand. You would understand when you watch. No, listen. When you would watch this one and you would watch the other one, would you watch the other ones? You would understand where this one is coming from.
No, I can understand. I can understand.
No, vice versa. Like
they're covering a lot of the same ground.
They are covering the same ground. It has to do with one another.
They're great for the same kind of reasons.
But if someone told me to watch 6 hours worth of movie prior to watching The Irishman, I might tell you to go screw yourself.
Well, and I'm talking to a man who I've been telling to watch Marvel movies so he can watch the Avengers.
Or watching a 3 hour, a 3.5.
I'm looking at you.
Or
John Daniels,
just watching it.
Don't need to catch up with your Marvel
everybody
movies.
Loves Raymond. I'm watching this. We're in a scene here.
No, like literally before that. Hold on, before that, 3.5 hours of this movie is like that's a tall order.
That's a tall order. Yeah, I know. 3.5 hours of this movie is like.
I'm talking to a man who just now, within the past year, just saw the Avengers.
Guys, anyone that's listening to this, that's me, John Daniels.
Right.
I am still catching up on the MCU, the Marvel Universe. I've seen a bunch of them many times, but I just not in a chronological order, and I'm still catching up. So yes, okay, I get you. Yes, Javier,
do your fucking homework.
I will do my homework. However, if I'm a newbie and I'm a fucking millennial, and someone tells me to go watch 6 hours worth of movie before this one,
I wouldn't say that. I would say, look, watch this movie. After you've liked this movie, go back and watch the other 2.
Okay, I'll accept that.
That's what I was saying.
I will accept that. If I like this movie,
or
I can listen to 3.5 hours of this movie,
or if,
I would go consider Goodfellas if I had not seen it before,
or
even Casino if I had not seen it before.
The obvious reversal is if you've seen those other movies, then yes, watch this movie because it feels like classic Scorsese, like mobster movie.
What is classic Scorsese?
It's not classic Scorsese. It's just it's a moment of time and period in filmmaking and mobster era, like 70s, 80s, like 90s, like
it's just
Casino type. The golden age of the mafia that he was able to capture in cinema.
Okay.
That he had the in it, like I don't know how
it's
or
the
whatever.
Same thing that you've had going on for 2,000 years.
Okay. All right,
he's just encapsulated in that era within movie making because the movies that he made with Ray Liotta,
one of the things I had to get
Joe
over
Pesci, Pesci, Robert De Niro, his first time.
For all
Al
those
Pacino,
mob
it's just
movie
awesome.
fanatics and all those people that followed Casino and Goodfellas, Donnie Brasco, etc., Scarface, whatever it is,
Blow?
like way before, Blow, whatever it was, like way back when, right? Like when you saw these actors, they're just immense, right? You could look up to them. And the one thing that I really had to get over was the fact that they were basically crippled in this film. I mean, you could fucking blow.
Okay.
You could
So
fucking
one of the-
blow a
one-
fucking piece of dirt at them in their eye. They'd be like,
They
"Oh,
fall over,
shit,
yeah.
ah."
Well,
So-
okay, so they did have a posture coach on them on set, like as with the director's orders, like they're like, yo, you're supposed to be 40 at this time. Like this movie does jump
No,
between
these-
eras.
these
These
guys-
guys are old, and like the technology used to
These
de-age
fuckers are
them.
hunched over and pissing their pants.
I noticed that very much throughout the movie.
I
and
had, like I said, no disrespect to them.
Yeah.
Like, I respect the fact that they're older, they're accomplished.
as much as
they get it, yeah.
all the respect to the posture coach, but I definitely noticed it throughout the
I
whole
had
movie.
to get over the fact that they are old pieces of dog shit.
And I knew that they're acting, but that's fine.
I swear
Like,
to-
I
that's them.
understand
I
that.
know that's them. And to be honest, I think they're not close. I don't think they're far off.
They
Beyond
did a
that.
great
Yeah,
job.
I think
Nah,
like
they did
in the
a
next
bad
year or
job.
two, they're gonna be in the same role that they're playing.
No, I'm saying like for what this is, for like what they did, it's good, man. It's good.
I got you. But
I
I'm
have
just
to
saying, like,
disagree. The uncanny valley is pretty strong in this movie.
It is, but once you look past that, and like once you look at their
Once
eyes,
you climb
like
past the alley?
yeah, like once you climb past the alley and look through the eyes and not through the physical body or like what it is, like you look through their soul, like you see like what they're trying to convey, and I understand that, and I completely
One of my
agree with
favorite things about this
their
movie-
actors'
I
eyes
have
in
to
this
interject
movie.
you. I have to interrupt you guys. I
Every
have to
time they
interrupt.
introduce a character, they tell you how he died.
There
I
is.
love that
We're
part.
at the scene here
Yeah.
where Harvey Keitel is in
Is
this
it- is-
as the ultra
is he the hitman?
mob. No. He's the ultra boss.
No,
he is even Joe Pesci's boss.
He's the
So like
He's
part
the
of
boss of the bosses.
part of my head canon was like every time they introduced the dude that showed the little text like how he died and why and like oh he was a good guy and he died this year and blah 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 for these reasons. And I always thought it was De Niro that was the one that took that dude out.
No,
but
only for one of them.
I'm wrong.
I don't think-
Only
I don't-
for
I
a
don't
percentage
think-
of them.
I
Yeah.
don't-
But as the movie continued, like I realized it was only for a few of them.
Right.
But as like the whole time I was like that's how I kind of pictured it. I was like, oh, it's just literally like his memoirs of like as a hitman, like taking
Right.
these dudes out. I
You
was
did
like,
know
oh, that's crazy.
A lot of these guys died in 1980.
yeah,
79,
Hey,
and
so let me ask you:
early-
is this
late
true?
80s,
Is this
early
real?
90s.
Are these facts true when they said, "Hey,
it's
is it
all
openly-
that's all
is it
interpretation.
openly up to interpretation?" Or
Maybe.
You're done. Okay, yeah.
Damn,
It's all
Javier, Jesus Christ.
it's always up interpretation, like depending on what you read and how you read it, and blah blah
okay,
blah.
guys.
But for the most part, yes, it
Depending
is
on who
based
you
on
ask,
real life.
apparently this is a memoir based on a true story, but according to like some other outlets, this guy is maybe like bullshitting
like
a bit.
smoking,
Yeah.
blowing smoke up your ass.
He
okay,
might
guys,
be just a crazy old guy,
guys,
but
guys.
I take it as like a Goodfellas like take, as on the look and like the mafia, like
I don't know about that.
exaggerated, like not fun, but like exaggerated.
Okay, guys. Just okay.
For dramatic effect, for
Okay.
what it is, for the material that it is, like pull it to that.
Okay,
to that
all
effect.
right, listen. All right, we talked about the development, the background, blah blah blah, the director, blah, 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 whatever. We
What?
are
That's all of it.
No.
Okay, go ahead.
The thing.
Listen. We are coming up on the 20-minute mark of a
Already?
fifth of. Oh yeah, I know.
Have we said anything?
That's what I'm talking. We're
I
talking.
know,
we're
okay,
talking
yeah,
bullshit.
yeah.
Let's get to the
Skip
real
to the
deal
next
shit.
scene. Skip
Listen,
to the
let's
next
get to the
scene.
fucking real deal shit.
Look.
What would you rate this? What do you think about this? If you've seen, you guys have you've seen Casino, you've seen Goodfellas, you've seen Donnie Brasco. Where would you rank this among those films? Does it even like relate?
We
Does
were
it
just
not?
watching Casino the other
Yeah,
day.
no.
Like
We
at
were-
your,
I was watching
like,
Casino
in your
this
Columbia
morning.
cave. Like we
Yeah,
were
no.
literally
In
watching
my
Casino.
Colombian cave out of Cali,
we're-
Colombia, where I'm from.
We
Everybody,
were watching
John Daniels.
Casino. Some
Yes.
weird antenna, like rabbit ears.
Yes.
I don't know what it was. We
Yes.
were watching Casino on some
so
like.
do you think this even
SDTV.
relates? Does it belong in the same realm? Does it not?
Yes,
Is it real? Is it fake? What the fuck is it?
completely 100% love this movie, and I didn't think I would, and I was reprehensive to watching it. Almost like it came out in November, and like I'm watching it in January, and like that's how much like it tells you like how like I love Scorsese so much. Like I love Goodfellas.
Forget Scorsese.
No.
Forget it.
That's why
Does
I'm
it
watching this
fall
movie. That's
into-
why I'm
does
watching
it
this movie. Is
fall
because
into
if
the
it wasn't a
mob-
Scorsese movie, then I wouldn't probably, most likely, probably wouldn't.
Does
be watching
it fall into the mob MCU,
Yes.
so to speak?
I mean, it's a fucking great Scorsese movie, and I love it because of everything that he did before, all the things that it expands upon, all the things that how like reading upon the history
Javier.
and the way it takes this movie to be made. It took a long time, like multiple 10 plus years for this movie to get
one fucking movie.
for this movie to get made. Yeah, yeah.
Fucking sad. 10 years for one.
No, like De Niro read the book
script
in
and
like
everything,
2004, and like they've been trying to make this movie since 2007 and all this stuff, and like hindrances.
Okay, so you
Finally,
are
Netflix threw
you
200
are
million at
a
it.
strong advocate of the film and where
Yeah,
it came into play and how it came into play.
Okay, 1 second. I love everything that Netflix does hinder. It does
Hinder,
It
yeah.
does hinder it in a little bit, but for the most part, I think it enhances it for the most part. Because of you can watch it at your own pace, and it does feel like because it's so long, it's allowed to be that long. Like Scorsese is allowed to breathe and like expand upon all these scenes, like the scene I'm watching right now of just fucking Joe Pesci walking up the stairs. Like you could probably cut that fucking shit out of any other like 2-hour theatrical release or anything like that. Like, but it's allowed to expand upon everything that Scorsese was like glorified before before,
you are
and
a
it just
proponent and you fully
I love
advocate,
this.
you like this movie.
I love
get
this
it.
movie.
This belongs in the quote unquote mob MCU universe.
Yeah.
This fully aligns
sure
with
if you want to call it that.
Mafia
Sure.
canon.
I got you. Okay, JVR, what is your take? Do you think this belongs
9.5,
in the
9.5.
God damn, you're already giving the rating. Okay, good for you. JVR, what do you think? Do you think this belongs in the quote-unquote mob MCU universe? Do you think this has relativity? Do you think this is relevant to that universe? Do you think this belongs there at all? Or do you think this is like a kind of like a side freak show, Netflix isolated thing?
Almost a cop.
Well, I'm gonna wait for you to unload that question. Anyway, I will say this though, is that one thing that strikes me about this is it is engrossing. It's like a memoir. You're like pretty much listening to an old guy.
Did
if
you
you're
call
like
it gross?
engrossing, like listening to an old guy tell his tales, pretty much. So if you like went and talked to your grandpa,
Dude, that's me right now.
if you went and talked to your grandpa at the diner and you're telling you stories about what happened when he was a kid, that's what that feels like.
And not in a bad way.
like an old guy telling you some stories, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that, but it's a very different feel from, say, I don't know. For one thing, I don't know. It lacks that sort of dramatic tension. One of my favorite moments of, say, Goodfellas is you've got Ray Liotta babbling on coke while a helicopter's chasing him, and the music.
I love Goodfellas.
and the
Yeah.
music's going in the background. And so
Yeah.
it's got that really dramatic
Yeah, yeah,
tension.
yeah.
It's an emotional,
Yeah.
filmic climax. This it doesn't. You don't quite get that because you get
This
like
is
a
a
much.
slow burn. for
It's
sure.
not about that. Yeah.
It's more about watching him fall down while trying to take a piss. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh
Right.
my God,
Yeah.
kill me
Yeah.
before that happens to me, please.
That's what the movie's about.
So it's a very different take on the very similar subject matter. So
Yeah.
But I will give Scorsese credit for trying that, although it also is Scorsese looking at the regular things Scorsese looks at.
Yeah.
So it's Scorsese breaking the same ground just slightly differently. So I will say that it's creditable and it's an engrossing film. It's easy to watch.
It's believable.
It's very
and-
easy to watch for 3.5 hour film.
Right.
I say that.
Yeah.
Yes. I had to
So-
I had to break it out into two pieces. We are
Even if I did that.
we
I
are
would
coming
say
up
it's
on the
easy to watch.
25-minute mark, guys. So you guys are strong proponents
Right.
of this film. You guys fully support and believe that this would fall into the quote unquote
In the
mob
Mafia-verse.
universe, right?
It is very
It's
watchable. I will give it
believable.
that.
It's believable.
Right. And
Let
that's
me
the
ask you
thing.
this though: why haven't I heard shit about this outside of the
Well,
Netflix community?
Oscar nominations, man.
Well,
It's
no,
got-
I did beforehand. I
got
just
Oscar
wasn't.
Why is this not all
No,
over the Yahoo,
no,
Twitter?
It was. I just wasn't paying. I wasn't paying enough attention because I literally was hearing about
Well-
this movie coming out as it was coming out, and I didn't
When
pay
was
enough
it? That was
attention.
in December, right?
No, in November when it came out in
November, okay.
theaters. Like
Okay, yeah.
it literally came out in theaters. I didn't realize this till after I was doing research on the movie. Like it came out in theaters
Dude,
in November
I saw
for
advertisements
2
for this.
weeks, for
I
like 2 or 3
saw
weeks.
Advertisements for this
Yeah.
in Cali, Colombia, where I'm
Yeah,
from.
yeah.
Everyone, John Daniels here in Cali, Colombia. They had the Irishman in English letters.
Yeah.
it was not even translated, and it was the Irishman like there.
And
being
I
promoted.
didn't like. I thought it would have been there like longer enough for me to catch up to it. Like whatever, like I could just
Yeah.
go see it in a movie, like
Yeah.
any other movie.
Yeah.
But it was very limited release, like very hindered on fucking Netflix
Yeah.
and all that everything, the deal and all that everything.
Right.
Which I do think it does enhance the movie. If it wasn't released in theaters, it should definitely have a intermission somewhere in there, like
Oh,
anytime.
definitely, yeah.
I'm sure they would, and I don't know if it did.
Some intermission
I don't know if
anywhere,
it did
somewhere.
when it was released because
Yeah.
I didn't see it in theaters. But
Yeah.
yeah, I would hope so. But
I'm not gonna knock on.
But he
these
does
guys.
like a he
Dude,
does
look. I'm
for
not.
you guys' point. He does like a he. They all do act like old people when they should
Well,
be
'cause
acting
they-
like young people.
I mean, they act like old people.
But I
because, number one,
understand what they're
they
s-
are old people. Okay?
I understand
I'm not
what
gonna
they're
knock on
saying.
the fact that
Yeah.
they have
Yeah.
that have aged. I'm not gonna knock on them because they're like old as
Yeah.
shit. Right? They're old.
I'm
We get
I'm
it.
accepting
Like,
it for what they are.
right, we
what
get it, we
what
get it,
they
we get it,
like.
yeah,
I'm not.
They're not.
actually.
They're hiding behind.
Unpopular opinion.
JVR has
Yeah,
an
unpopular
opinion.
opinion.
JVR has an
It's
opposition
like-
to this.
I-
I
got
feel like
this-
the acting, like in their eyes, like you're not
Exactly.
CG on the
I
eyes.
feel- a great
I
thing,
had to
but-
like blind myself from their old ass ages, but
Right.
Yeah.
JVR, like, what
Look,
did you
it's,
think?
it's the Uncanny Valley. I can't
It
crawl
is.
into it, and I'm not going to crawl out of it. I remember back in the 90s, not even that old, when they would reuse like James Brown and whatever because they could, and Humphrey Bogart because they could finally start to getting the digital technology on track where they could like insert people from old movies and new things. And so that was a popular trend in the early mid 90s. Have old actors doing new things because they could just sort of digitally manipulate them.
Dude, Tupac came for Coachella.
Yeah,
And that-
yeah, exactly.
early 2000s,
Holograms.
Yeah,
He was
But the
dead.
point
He came
is-
back from the dead.
Michael
You're not-
Jackson too.
and that's-
Yeah.
you got to let people die, let people age on, and like, that's funny because this movie is all about that.
Dude, these
It is.
Letting
these
people
guys
age on.
are old as dog shit.
No.
and I don't want to knock on them, but I'm like, God,
No, I think that's
Damn.
that's
Goddamn,
the theme of
motherfucker,
the.
old as
Motherfucker,
shit.
you old.
That's the
You
theme
are
of the.
fucking old.
I
Dude.
think that's the theme of the
I
movie.
thought I was old, man.
Yeah, man, shit.
No.
I was like, God damn, if this is what I have to look forward to, put me out of my misery because
Right.
these guys can't take a piss in a jar.
And they
Yeah.
do kind of glorify the fact, like, of what he is and like who he is, and like all the people that he's
No,
connected
do
to,
they
and like.
really?
Wait,
I mean,
who? You're talking about
well,
De Niro?
the-
You're talking about De
his
Niro?
character himself.
You're talking about De Niro?
Not
Yeah.
really. I mean, because the way
No,
he ends up,
the way his perception feels.
No,
Johnny
no,
Walker.
no,
Are you
it's
talking about
not-
De Niro?
It's not even.
Yeah.
because- no, I would say Goodfellas glorified it more.
No,
This is
yeah.
a matter of fact. This is actually De Niro's like a weirdly as it
He's
sounds,
he's a straight up like working man.
he's a working class.
Yeah.
hitman.
He's a working man that
Yeah.
worked his way up the ladder.
That's what
so
I'm
to
saying.
speak,
Like that's the
That's
glorification
not
of it.
glorification
up
though.
the mob corporate
No,
ladder,
for
so to
him.
speak.
Not really though.
No.
it's not. Who would ever glorifies the working class is the people who have never worked a day in their life. Seriously.
No, what? No, I'm saying
Seriously.
him going like his glorification as become
Not really.
as that becoming more than that. Like
Not
his
really, because they
I-
point
I feel-
out he works and then he works until he can't work no more. Then he's in a retirement home.
yeah,
So
and then
it's
he's like a
hardly- it's
hitman.
glorification.
And that's
I
the
don't
sad
think
truth of it all, and that's like
Right.
and that's his characterization to a T. Is like I think that's what he like his ultimate
It's just a working
his
schlub.
follies his realize it is he realizes that as
Yeah.
which I hope the audience does at the end of the movie is like you lost your daughter, you lost your family, you're looking for some fucking dude that you would kill, like your best friend, like Jimmy Hoffa. Like we
Yeah.
haven't even gone into Jimmy Hoffa stuff. Like he's like literally about to like he loses his whole
Yeah,
everything.
There's no glorification. In that.
I know.
That's
No,
then the point.
no, I'm saying like that's that.
That's where Goodfellas was all about that
Yeah.
glorification and the breaking of that illusion. This is like doesn't have
The
an
most
illusion.
realizing
Hey,
the
ladies,
realization of
ladies,
that. Yeah, yeah.
Speaking of glorification and illusions, we are coming up on the 29-minute mark.
What is there a time limit on this? Strict time limit? Is
No,
it-
no, no. I'm just letting you guys
Just
know.
know that
I'm just
we're
letting
rambling
you
on our drunken ramblings or
Right,
continuing
right,
on.
right. So please try to make a cohesive drunken statement off of our
cohesively,
discussion.
De Niro's like a working class schlub hitman in this movie.
Yeah.
No, he is. He is.
And this part
And you
right
know
here,
what?
you can even see the CGI where he acts like an old man kicking an old dude on the street.
Johnny Walker. I don't think that's CGI.
I mean, like
playing an old.
that's what I mean. Like it's supposed to be the opposite, but it is what it is. Like it's completely evident on screen. Like he's
Right.
just the old dude trying to be
I
old.
see him kicking the shit out
He's
of
trying to be a young guy kicking an old guy. And shit. And
I see him
understand
kicking
what-
this old guy, and
I understand what it. I understand what it is. What it is. What it's trying to tell. What the story is trying to tell, and that's what I accept it as. And I don't accept it as some CGI fake out or whatever.
I don't.
I understand exactly where you're coming from, but I understand. But I can. It's not look past it or not give it like a free pass or something. No. But I can understand where he's fucking going with the fucking things.
Who?
That he's showing me.
Scorsese?
Yeah, how evident it looks that he's an old man kicking a dude on the street. But I understand the story that he's trying to tell.
When I saw him kicking the
so
old guy,
for me, like him, the story that he's trying to tell is more convincing to me than De Niro actually committing the act on screen.
For me,
when I saw him kicking the old guy, I could think of kicking him. I could think of him. I could think of De Niro kicking the guy. I think it's Billy Batts in Goodfellas, and it was just like black and white. It was like, okay, we have this old
Right.
ass grandpa stomping on another
Yeah.
old dude, and then we have we have Jimmy stomping Billy Bats out to the T, right? I mean, kicking his teeth out or whatever. I mean,
Right.
not to say that they should be equal, but it was just like, oh, it's such a difference. I was like, oh
And
my
Right.
god, it's such a difference. It was
To
just like-
Scorsese's credit, like
I'm
No,
not
but-
discrediting Scorsese.
no, I mean,
I am.
to,
I'm
no, to
thinking this is-
Scorsese's credit, like everything that Javier's saying, like that's against this movie. Like I feel it's not. I'm not saying that it's amplifying the movie or making the movie better, but I understand like it's just where he's coming from, where he is in this time of the way he is telling storytelling in this era.
I have to be honest
because
with you guys.
he can't like the
Guys,
whole Marvel movie.
guys,
like
guys.
we haven't even touched on that, and like
Well, this guy's
guys,
never seen the
the
Marvel
de-aging,
movie.
the de-aging effect,
I have
and
to.
like all
I have
that
to be
stuff.
100% honest.
If I could, like, yeah, go ahead.
If I was not a millennial, which I am, guys, from Columbia. Okay,
Yeah,
if I was not a millennial and someone said, "Hey, watch Casino, watch Donnie Brasco, and watch Goodfellas, and watch The Irishman all in one sitting," I would. Okay.
No, you wouldn't.
Yes, I fucking would.
Don't lie to yourself.
I fucking would. Listen. Okay.
Don't lie to
wouldn't.
yourself. Don't lie
Listen
to
me,
us. Don't lie to
listen
the
me,
audience.
listen.
You'll watch it eventually,
Okay,
but that's
over-
fine. That's
over a
cool.
week,
But you don't have to
over a
watch
week,
it in one sitting.
Over a week.
Yeah,
I-
yeah.
I watch it
Over a couple
okay,
months,
Listen
that's
to me.
cool, whatever.
I swear to God,
Yeah, yeah.
if it was all fresh to me, I believe and I think that The Irishman would be my least favorite among the films. Among the films.
Okay, least favorite. Okay, I definitely like Goodfellas.
Not that it's a bad
I like
movie.
Mean Streets more
No,
almost.
not that it's a bad movie. I'm saying if I had to watch them newbie, fresh, all in one, I would believe that The Irishman would be like not on the top. That's
Martin
what I'm saying.
Scorsese's previous work definitely enhances this film entirely.
It enhances and also overshadows this work.
It doesn't. I don't think it overshadows it. I think it enhances.
Okay, let me ask you. I'm just gonna ask you guys straight out. Listen to me, okay? We have the same actors. We have Al Pacino, De Niro, Joe Pesci. I don't even have to name any movies that they've been in because they're just world renowned. Okay?
Yeah.
I don't give a. I don't have to go into
Scarface.
that, okay?
Go ahead.
Whatever. Okay. If I had to give you 4 films, Scarface, Donnie Brasco, Goodfellas, Casino, and then I gave you The Irishman, where would you rank The Irishman among that mix?
What was the first one?
Goodfellas,
Okay.
Casino, Donnie
Donnie
Brasco, and Scarface. And then
Okay,
I threw,
well,
and then I threw,
Scarface
and then
is
I
not-
threw in this movie.
Scarface
Where would-
is De Palma. That's the.
okay. Like
In terms of mob movies, yeah.
Carlito's
whatever,
Way?
whatever. Where
If
would
you
you
wanna,
rank?
if that's what you want to generalize this movie as, then sure,
Where would you pick this movie if you had to rank it out of 5? Out of a spot of 5 films?
yes. I like this more than Donnie Brasco.
Really?
Blasphemy.
Yes.
Blasphemy.
I don't
Not
know.
better than Scarface. Not better than the other one you said.
Goodfellas. Look,
Not better than Goodfellas.
Goodfellas,
Goodfellas is number
Casino,
1, I think, to
Donnie
me.
I think
Goodfellas, Casino.
teasing it apart is difficult though because this movie only exists because those other movies existed.
Yeah, and I think it is only is able to breathe and
In the space they
exemplify why it is good.
That's my point.
is because of those movies beforehand.
That is my point. Those movies, those predecessors, those
It allows this movie to be
ingrained-
better.
Those
I can
ingrained
agree with
mob
that.
movies. Okay, they allowed this movie to basically come to life.
Yeah.
Javier.
Yet you failed to mention The Godfather, which is the granddaddy of all these mob
That's
movies.
De Palma. That's Scarface. That's different. That's a different direction.
Godfather,
I
Coppola.
didn't mention that, but Javier,
Sorry,
if
yeah,
if you were to throw, okay, let me throw it in then. Let me throw it in. Javier, out of 6 films, let me name the first 5. Javier, Godfather, Donnie Brasco, Casino, Goodfellas, and what was the other one? God damn it, the other
Look,
one.
I'm just gonna say this. I'll put The Godfather first because it broke all the ground that
Okay,
all the others.
but
followed
where
upon.
would this film fall into place for you?
It's at the end because it's chronologically and thematically and artistically at the end of that cycle.
Oh,
That's how it is. I'm not complaining about it. I'm not.
No,
gonna,
I'm not complaining. I'm just
I'm not
asking
gonna-
where it would
It's,
fall.
it is what it is, as they said in this movie. It's what it is. It's at the end of the cycle. It's at the end of a cycle because
that's why it was made. Yeah.
the
yeah,
mob
yeah.
doesn't exist anymore. These actors are too old to do anything anymore. The director is also getting on in years.
right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like an old as
It's
the,
it's like homage.
It's a little bit of homage,
Yeah.
a little bit of tribute,
A homage.
remembrance.
A homage.
Fiendistically.
A homoid.
It's pronounced homage.
It's a homoid.
Okay, it's a homo-age.
It's at the end
it's
of the
a
cycle.
homo-age.
Okay. At the end of the cycle, and that's
okay.
where it belongs,
so,
where it's created.
So
and that's
if you were to rank it,
but I think that's beneficial for it. Like
yeah,
I think that's why it is
that's the only reason it works.
And no, it's not the only reason it works. I think that's is why it's as good as it is.
Right.
It's because it's not only
So you disagree with
if
me.
you kind of halfway. Like if it was a 2-hour movie, then I could
it's
see.
fucking 4 hours long.
No, yeah, I know. What I'm saying, like, if it's a 2-hour movie, then I could see
It'd be
more
way
than
too
where
compact.
could see more where you're coming from. But because it is 3.5 hours, like he could
Right.
it's just like him. Just make a fucking story, like tell your fucking story, and he can, and he
Right.
did, and it's fucking, and I enjoyed it, like, and I enjoyed it for as long as it could be, as he wanted to be, and then like at my own pace, like you said, but I wanted to enjoy it I enjoyed it within 24 hours, like I consumed this fucking media within 24 hours
you had to
because
segment it.
yeah, because like because it was so engrossing, because it was. Like, admittedly, at first when I was like, "Yo, this movie's 3 hours long," I was like,
Okay,
"No, fuck
okay,
this."
All right, look, listen, Johnny.
But as I came into it, I was like, "Yeah, dude,
Okay.
I almost wanted
Listen,
more." I was like, "Hell yeah, dude!"
Okay, next topic. Okay, we get it. Javier likes it. Johnny Walker likes it. I like it. We ranked it among the mafia quote unquote movies.
Right.
Okay, next question. Okay, next theme. Okay, on this podcast.
Yeah.
Next.
Is this believable? Does this follow a Jimmy Hoffa quote unquote timeline? Is this realistic? Yes or no? What do you guys think?
It depends on whom you ask.
I'm asking you, Javier. What do you think?
Well,
Is this completely full of shit, or do you think this has some type of open, realistic kind of?
they don't
story?
mention him being buried in a giant stadium, so I don't know what to think. That was an old urban legend for you guys, I guess, aren't old enough to remember it.
Different
guy,
book
he
that
wa-
didn't get made into a movie.
No, the urban legend was that Jimmy Hoffa was buried under the end zone at Giant Stadium.
Really?
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, yeah.
Oh
That
my
was
God.
the running joke in the
Okay.
mid '80s, but you guys don't remember that because it's all before your time, I guess. The point being,
Yeah, vampire.
I thought Jimmy Hoffa was a tire.
yeah,
Jimmy
A
Hoffa.
Michelin
That's what
Man?
Jabba says at the end of Return of the Jedi. Remember? Oh, wow. Jimmy Hoffa.
I mean, it's believable or not as believable as any other thing I've heard. So
Okay, all right. So
I'm
J-
just joking, right? Yeah.
JBR.
I knew of Jimmy Hoffa, but I didn't really.
J-
I
J-
really, honestly, didn't know the history of Jimmy Hoffa, and I did
Right.
my history
because you're a
on.
millennial.
No,
Right.
almost. And then
because America doesn't have unions anymore because
like I've heard,
Automation.
I know the name Jimmy Hoffa, but I just didn't know exactly that it was directly related to all this like mob and like JFK
Right.
and like all this other stuff. Like that's news to me. And so this movie's
Have you not seen The Godfather? They directly talk about that when they go to Hollywood and it's like, hey, you're gonna have some trucker problems. We can fix that for you.
well,
Johnny Walker.
I thought that was like having fun.
No, that was the mafia has been in bed with the unions for as long as there have been unions. Pretty much.
Oh, well, that's a running theme through like almost every mafia movie. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right.
Learn
So-
the
But
history,
not
bitches.
so historically referential in like
Okay,
Cuban Missile Crisis
guys.
type of things that he's talking about in this movie.
X-Men First Class.
guys,
Yeah.
guys. X-Men First Class.
Robert,
Okay.
Goodfellas was an X-Men First Class.
All right, X-Men First Class.
Well,
guys.
actually, it kind of
But
was.
they
Guys.
did reference Lufthansa, and that was
Hey,
a
guys,
big
Yeah, it
reference
was,
at
yeah,
the
yeah.
time.
Hey,
Yeah,
guys,
it was,
guys,
yeah,
Question. Throughout the movie, they had identified quote unquote facts about people that were assassinated. Are those true facts? People that got shot in the
As
I
face?
far
have
as I
no
can
idea.
Tell, as far as I can tell, they seem to be accurate because those are a matter of public record. You can just look at the police reports, and they'll tell you what happened.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay. Another thing I want, just tangent for me. He always kills the same people. He kills people, and he's a hitman. He paints walls. He's a painter. He always shoots people with the little snub nose revolver, and like 3 shots in the head. Like it's
Right.
always the same kind of kill.
He's got
And-
an MO, yes.
Yeah, and he's like a glorified killer. Like from what the movie I perceive was trying to tell me is that he gets off on like his kills. Like he's reading the newspaper. He's always continuously reading the newspaper about his kills or watching the TV
Yeah.
about everything, the news that happens, and that's a huge part of his daughter not liking him because she's obviously like, yo, you fucking read everything that you're reading is she like realizes like,
She
yo,
can read too.
she's like, hey, you're doing this. I see
Hey,
you leaving
right.
with a gun. You're
Yeah.
like reliving your fucking kills that you did. Like,
He's like Dexter.
yeah,
A man takes
yeah,
pride
yeah.
in his work. What can you say?
Yeah, and he's like fucking, and he's reveling in it, and she realizes that, and and Futuron, Jimmy Hoffa, spoilers, blah 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 blah, and like all that stuff, and like and that was the point when she was like, "Yo, you're just gonna kill your best friend that like helped made you, like not made you, but like just a well respected everything to you, like everything you symbolize is you throw it all away for."
Right. No, I got you.
For your protection, for your mob, for your life,
this was definitely a longer movie. Everyone, you might as well grab your ass pillow for this one. It's a good film, but it is long.
I thought that was Marissa Tomei for a little while. The waitress.
Actually, I think
he
that
divorces.
We're at the scene where the waitress is flirting with him,
and he's like, "That's when I divorced my wife."
Yeah,
that's the time.
But I do want to let you know that Al Pacino's wife in the film plays Lois in Goodfellas, where she's like, "I have my lucky hat. I can't fly without my lucky hat." Right? She has to have the lucky hat to fly with bags of coke around her legs, and they get pinched. So the Jimmy Hoffa's wife in the film is played by the same actress as Lois in Goodfellas, which is kind of cool. I mean, it's 25 years apart, but
a little bit of trivia for you.
Yeah, so what? Who cares? Yeah, it's pretty good. But yeah, guys, we are coming up on the 41-minute mark.
This movie's just getting started.
Skip scene.
I mean, I don't
move ahead. Give ahead. We'll comment on the structure of this movie.
There's 9,000 scenes.
I know.
This movie is like flashback upon flashback.
I know.
It's pretty deep.
Yeah. What I was telling Jimmy, Javier earlier, I was like, it reminds me of Maverick, where he literally goes back between to where he flashbacks to where the movie catches up, and then. And where that movie catches up, he's flashbacking even further. So it's like three or four levels deep. Like it's an epic. Here. Yeah. It's definitely time jumping all around. And
remember when that guy asked me to remember when?
It's like when you remember how De Niro looked CG and when he was 20, and how De Niro looked CG when he was 40, and it's like, no, I don't remember. So just. Yeah. And that's part of the other reason why I don't mind the CG that much. It's like, yeah, it's just obviously cover for the story they're trying to tell, and I'm like, I can agree with that.
Right. All I'm saying is good old.
It could have been done better.
Orson Welles in 1937, 38, whatever.
Orson Welles was he the guy that did the UFO.
Citizen Kane, and then, he made himself look really ancient with makeup. No CGI involved.
Scorsese was saying that this movie has been in development since 2007. So they were trying to make the movie for a long time, but it was just like Mad Max in development hell, where they just everybody took too long. And then in the interviews, Scorsese says De Niro and Pacino and Pesci were supposed to play their younger selves, but time caught up with them where they couldn't. That's why they used the de-aging tech.
Time, aka age and
if you're gonna make a movie 10 years ago and your actors look 10 years older, I mean,
they couldn't do just what every other movie does and use a younger actor.
Right.
Well, they could have 10 years ago. That's
we are coming up on the 43-minute mark.
All right. So just a thought on me, on my part, is like the CGI is a little bit disturbing. It's like you won't let people die. It's the weird thing about it. It's like
disturbing.
I'm used to not dying, but it's like
everybody gets hung up on the CGI.
Yeah.
That's my least. That's my least thing that I take about this movie.
Are you offended by the CGI of them being old as shit?
That's the least thing I think about this movie. When I think about this movie,
are you hung up on the fact that the CGI makes them look older, not realistically, quote unquote, older?
I'm just hung up on the fact that this opens the doors for a lot of like sketchy things that are going to happen in movies. We're going to have actors have their likenesses never die.
That's been going on for a while. Have you seen Audrey Hepburn's commercial for like Dove chocolates? That's like 10 years old almost.
Right.
Like, come on, dude. Like, that's old. Holograms for Tupac. There's Tupac, Michael Jackson. Like, that's... Right. It's almost old news by now. But what I'm saying, I agree with you 100%. Like, for actors and time.
As someone who hasn't died, I'm just going to say some things need to die and move on in their time.
Some things need to die.
Please don't put me in a Dove
love that.
These
old fucks need to die. Okay.
Right, just so to make room for
when Robert De Niro is delivering guns, in 20 years you're gonna see him delivering guns for like a Dove commercial.
Yes.
Dude, this
So he's
old
delivering
bastard needs to
chocolate
die.
as he's delivering these guns.
Yes,
He's
and
delivering chocolate.
and he should have a heart attack right
and
then
he
and
looks
there.
like he does
Yeah.
in Taxi Driver, not like he does in Irishman.
Right.
But
He
just
should
younger
have
than
a
how
heart
he
attack
does.
right then and there.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
I'm just saying, it's just another layer of unreality, and Hollywood is all too familiar with unreality. And,
See, I accept that fact, and I agree with you
know.
wholeheartedly, but I don't let it take away from the story
I
that
don't
he's
know,
trying to
just
tell for
my
me here.
suspension just falls a little bit.
I appreciate that,
point.
Javier. I appreciate that. All right, guys, we are on the 45-minute mark. Any final
Shout out to Joe
thoughts?
Pesci. Love Joe Pesci in this movie.
He's mostly old all the time, so
yeah,
props
yeah.
for that.
No, yeah, like they had to talk him out of coming out of quotation mark retirement to come into this movie. They literally talked
Quote
him in.
unquote graveyard.
Yeah, they're like, "Hey, you're not doing anything. Come on." And then he's
Right.
like, "Okay." 5 years later, okay, I'll finally do it. But hey, I love him in this movie. I think it was great. I love all the actors, everything they do in this movie. I think it's fine. Al Pacino, of course, the first time working with Scorsese is just fantastic. I really like personally. I would love to see Pacino in a not already written character, written form, like Jimmy Hoffa. Like I would love to see him as like a crazy Harvey Keitel character, like how he is in Mean Streets for Scorsese, like an original character.
Right.
Like I would love to see Pacino work with Scorsese with an original character, not based off Jimmy Hoffa. And but I love him in this movie. Like it's just it's
Also,
just great.
Hilariously, Scorsese is the most Italian actor here, but he plays a non-Italian guy.
Wait, Scorsese's in this film?
No, I mean, I'm sorry, Al Pacino.
Oh, Pacino.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
He's
yeah.
the most
Gotcha,
Italian
gotcha.
guy.
Okay.
He traces his ancestry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
gotcha.
met him.
Okay.
Yeah, Pacino. Yeah, Pacino. Sorry.
All right, guys.
Scarface.
And then,
I
all
might
right.
have
Thank you very
mixed
much.
up my words.
Thank you very much for your final thoughts. If you guys had to rank this among the mob movies that I've mentioned before, and it doesn't have to be in chronological order. Fuck the order. It doesn't matter. Like, okay, you got everyone's seen Goodfellas, everyone's seen Casino, everyone's seen Godfather, everyone's seen Don Brasco, whatever. If you guys had to rank this, would this be up in like your higher tiers as far as favorites?
I'd rank it as much must watch. It's like recommended reading. Is like you need to see this as it casts a different light, an interpretation on the other things you've just seen.
So basically,
If you had seen the other ones, no. If you've seen the other movies, you need to watch this movie.
No.
You should
but I'm
probably-
saying, if you were on death row and you had 3 movies to pick from and they were mob movies, would this be in your top 3?
No.
Nah,
Okay. Johnny Walker.
it'd be. Yeah, so hypothetically on death row, it'd be Godfather, Godfather Part 2, and Goodfellas.
Okay, Johnny
Or
Walker.
Casino,
You're on
depending.
death row. Would you
Casino's
consider
so
this
sad, though.
Godfather? Johnny Walker. If you are on death row, you had to pick the first 3 movies of mob type genre. Would this be in your mix?
No.
Okay.
And that's not. I
doesn't
don't.
reflect
It
badness
doesn't
in this
mean
movie.
that doesn't
I'm not saying
reflect.
this is a bad
That's what I'm
movie.
saying.
I'm not
Like
saying this is a bad movie. I'm
you're
just
trying
saying-
to like give me like a list of
No.
saying that this is the bottom of the list, but I'm saying this is top tier movie making by Martin Scorsese, which I agree with him wholeheartedly. Like this should have been released in the theaters. Like there is an
Yeah.
audience for it.
Yeah.
Like if I had known. I feel bad because like I really like this movie and I
Yeah.
would have seen it in the theater had
Yeah.
I known what it was like when I saw it. But if it was promoted better, pretty much essentially if it was promoted better by studios that were back behind it, like he's gone on record saying like
Who?
Scorsese himself has
Scorsese's
gone on record saying
okay.
that no company would produce this movie. That's the only reason
Because it was 3.5 hours long.
no, is because of the source material. And who wants a mob movie that is starring Robert De Niro, Pesci, and Al Pacino? Apparently, all the head movie studios passed. The only reason that this movie exists is because of Netflix, and I love
Yeah.
Netflix.
Yeah.
I love Netflix too.
Yeah,
Well,
for how
I love Netflix currently because they're throwing everything at the wall. To see what
exactly.
sticks.
Yeah. They're like, hey,
Everybody loves Netflix,
Please
yeah.
watch something, and yes, give me something to watch. And if you're gonna give me Scorsese 3.5 hour movie, Return of the King mob
Yeah.
style movie to watch,
Yeah.
then fuck yeah, I'm gonna fucking
Yeah.
watch it.
Okay.
Like, yes.
We don't have Baby Yoda, but here's Baby De Niro.
Yeah.
Booyah! Yeah, exactly.
yeah. But no, like I'm not praising this movie. It sounds like I'm praising this movie to the Suns, but well, like
Yeah.
I love this movie, and I feel like it got shorthanded. I wholeheartedly agree with Scorsese. Like there is an audience for this movie in the theater. It could have existed in the theater. We didn't even touch on the aspect of him in the whole Marvel movie and like that whole fiasco. Did you even read about that?
Dude, who reads? I just watch
Educate us.
YouTube.
Okay, so Scorsese has this whole thing about Marvel movies, and like he doesn't
Well,
accept them as like as real cinema.
apparently-
and that's like why he it blames Marvel movies for this movie not existing in theaters, which I agree with him. But I disagree with the studios that disregarded this movie as being not able to be released as it is. Like,
I don't know, man. This movie could have easily been The Goldfinch. So
if you could put goddamn Fishman banging some chick, what is it, Shape of Water? You can put me
Aquaman?
you can give me a Scorsese.
You know that was a comic book movie, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you can give me a Scorsese movie, fucking mom. Like, I would, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm the minority, but I can completely watch both. Like, I love Avengers to death. I love all the Marvel
Johnny
movies.
Walker.
I completely disagree with everything Martin Scorsese says about how Marvel movies are portrayed as, like, as stories, as cinema, and everything like that. And I watched the interviews with him, and I understand where he's coming from. But at the same time, like, if he just watched Captain America, the first one, I think he would disagree. I think he would like the first Avenger. I don't know if you saw that one, but please, Martin Scorsese, if you're listening,
Johnny Walker,
go watch the first Avenger.
Okay,
he's from the Bronx. Johnny he's Walker, like a New York kid.
Johnny
blah, blah,
Walker,
blah.
I got you. Johnny Walker.
Okay,
so to go off what you said, yes. Apparently, there was a bit of controversy around Martin Scorsese's comments regarding the MCU. He indicated, or he at least stated in some way, shape, or form that, hey, I get the MCU. He
doesn't get it. That's why he doesn't like it.
Well, he referenced it as being more of a
no, sir, I don't like it.
He says he gave it a chance and he doesn't understand what
theater,
like. I understand
more like a theme
from.
Park type thing.
Yeah,
and that he doesn't really.
I think
go
it's just
in that direction, right?
It is a negative effect, and is a negative effect of him not being able to get sponsorship for this movie to get made because of the Marvel, because nobody wants to make this type of mob movie at this time when the Marvel movies, like, it's not going to make me money.
Oh, and everything, yeah.
So why would I put this out? So just put it out like a goddamn Netflix movie, like
Quiet,
guys, to be fair,
like
no,
Quiet
guys,
Place or
guys,
like
guys.
Bird Box or whatever. Like
Bird Box.
I like those movies. Those could be theatrical releases, but I'm
honestly,
saying, like,
the thing he's bitching about is they won't give him this movie at the budget he requested because it costs a lot to make this movie.
yeah.
Okay, guys.
And no one's gonna go ahead risking that kind of movie unless it's a Marvel movie.
Okay, look, guys, look.
You know,
At this point in time, yes.
Yeah.
It's
All
not about art. It's about money.
The marketplace. It's always been about the marketplace.
No,
guys.
it's about art. It's about money.
It's always been about the marketplace.
Yes.
Okay, guys.
But art influences the marketplace. That's what people
But
don't.
it's always
feel.
been about the marketplace. You know why the
but
movie
art
industry,
influences the marketplace. That's what people fail to realize.
You know why the movie industry?
There is no marketplace without art.
There's no art without
Listen
the
to me.
marketplace.
Listen. We are in the
But not successful.
We are in the 52-minute mark. We understand your position around Martin Scorsese's opinion. Okay, I get it. We understand your position around this film compared to other mob films. We get it.
It's a
Any
good coda.
final thoughts? What
think-
would you rate this movie on a scale of 1 to 10? JVR.
On 1 to 10, I give it a good, like, solid 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10?
But
Okay.
if you understand that it is a coda to the previous gangster movies, it celebrates a time and a place that don't exist anymore in film and in America.
Okay. Johnny Walker, what would you rate this on a scale of 1 to 10?
I give it a 9.5 straight up.
9.5, goddamn. Okay,
I almost
that's
give
pretty
it
high,
a,
yeah.
I give it a 9 almost a 9.7. I give it a 9.5 because the only reason I give it a 9.5 is because it wasn't released in theaters. Like, he should have stuck to his, like, somebody out in Hollywood should have been like, yo, just
No, it had a brief.
no,
release in
it would have been what it already was.
Yeah.
Like, it released in theaters for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
To
But
be
just
Oscar
fucking
eligible.
release the fucker for like a couple months. Like, literally a couple months, I think would have added a lot more to this movie because of the attention that is gained through Netflix, through the Oscar nominations, and people are watching it and like, oh, it's a 3.5 hour fucking long movie, and it's still getting nominations for the Oscars, and it was the only reason it's being nominated is because it released in theaters for a couple weeks, and it's like, yo, idiots, it should be released in theaters for
like
the whole fucking
7
month
to 8 weeks,
I love this movie. I think it's great. I do think that the technology is a little behind. I think could be better for the facial recognition, the de-aging and all that other stuff. But it's not going to take away from the story that he's trying to tell me, which he told me, which I saw, which I thought was great. Okay. So, I love this movie. 9.5.
All right, good. 9.5
and
from
I
Johnny
think
Walker.
The ultimate theme that I think about this movie is about humanity and death and like mortality and what you have and like what you give up. Like, he gave up his daughter and his best friend and Jimmy Hoffa. Like, we didn't even touch on Al Pacino and all that stuff.
Dude,
like, it's
only
like
an hour long.
I know. Like, keep
talking.
It does.
Wait, Jay, what did you give
It's
this
about
rating
mortality,
again?
and I
What
completely
was the rating that you gave?
completely
JVR?
feel that.
8.0 because
Okay, 8.0 for JVR.
In the
9.5
context-
from Johnny Walker. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
At the end of the movie, he's like, leave the door open
Okay.
a little bit, like Jimmy Hoffa. Like,
Yeah.
he's just,
I got
he's
you.
just a sad old man. Doesn't have his daughters that won't come and visit him anymore. Like,
Listen to me. John Daniels here from Cali, Columbia.
that's sad.
And if I had to rate this on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give it a 8 out of 10. I agree with Javier. A lot of great points, a lot of significant movement, a lot of realism to do with what happened with Jimmy Hoffa, etc., and all the people in that industry, aka the Teamsters, at that time. So I love the fact that it goes into that. It delves into the complications between loans, etc., ROI, boom, boom, boom,
Yeah,
Teamsters, 90, whatever. Like it goes all over the place, right?
Political,
a lot of political,
like, union,
not just political,
everything,
but a lot of,
yeah, all
it's
that stuff.
It's business. It's
American,
business heavy.
Americana.
It's business heavy, right?
America runs on trucks.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it does.
Blue collar as well as white collar. I love that. Okay, so I give it an 8.5, or I'm sorry, an 8 out of 10. I agree with JVR. And, I mean, that's pretty much my take. If you guys want to watch it, I suggest to grab your ass pillows and
Ass donut.
watch it. And it's a good flick. I'm not going to compare it to Goodfellas, Donnie Brasco, Casino,
belongs
Scarface,
in that-
etc.
it's in that realm,
It's
though.
in that realm. It's in that realm.
It's
But
a-
it belongs in no place to compare it
It's a fair-
against.
it's a
right?
fair
It's its
and
own individual
yeah.
film. It's its own individual story.
It's a fair
and it's
and unfair comparison at the same time.
right. It's its own individual. You really have to watch it on its own. You don't compare it to. You pretty much
No, but
just add it
I
into the
have to
universe.
disagree. You have to watch it in relation to those other movies. It builds upon, adds upon, and comments upon those other movies.
I think maybe only a handful of
that's my opinion.
Scorsese's
I
films.
think you could appreciate.
specifically like his mobster films specifically. I think it adds upon, but Scorsese as a whole, I don't think you can shoe him in like all that type of like just mobster
JVR,
movies.
good point. I think
Yeah.
you could really appreciate the fact for story development, maybe even background characterization when you're comparing Goodfellas, Casino, etc.
Like
while
Hugo,
watching this film.
or,
I think you get a good feel for the mix and a good feel for some of the character development.
Yeah.
For this film.
But giving Scorsese credit, like Hugo, which is like crazy weird 3D
Right,
movie,
it's a whole other thing.
Yeah, it's like a whole like completely different
Yeah,
genre and like
you don't need to
aspect
watch
of movie
Hugo to
making,
understand
like
this.
movie. Yeah, exactly, just completely different. Like children, different take,
Right.
3D,
Yeah.
and also bringing I want to shout out Bringing Out the Dead. 99.
Oh, yeah. Underrated.
Sizemore.
Totally
and,
underrated.
Tom
Nicholas,
Sizemore?
Yeah, Nicolas Cage as ambulance drivers. Like, I love them. I didn't even realize, like,
Wait,
after
Tom
I was...
Sizemore in this movie?
No. In Bringing Out the Dead in 99.
okay, I got you,
Nicolas
okay,
Cage
yeah.
as ambulance drivers.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't realize that was Scorsese until I was doing the research for this movie. And I was like, oh, damn. And I was like, that was him. And I was like... And that was, like, after Casino and, like, all this other stuff. And I was like, yeah, dude, like... He's not just a mobster. Like everybody pigeonholes him in this mobster
Yeah,
movie.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
That's where he made his mark, but
that's
he's
where
got so
what
many other
everybody's
things.
basing this movie off of. And I'm like, that's
All right,
what-
guys,
that's
we
unfair.
are
Like,
coming up on the
he's much more than
1
that.
hour mark here. Any final thoughts for this film?
Love
Aside
it.
from it's the shit.
All my life, I want to be a good gangster.
Yeah.
Johnny Walker, any final thoughts?
All I'm left with is some spaghetti and
Spaghetti,
ketchup.
yeah. That's a quote from Goodfellas. Okay. All right,
Noodles
guys.
and ketchup, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't have any.
Noodles and ketchup. Yeah, noodles and ketchup.
Yeah,
That's what it was.
yeah. I wish I could quote something from Dog Day Afternoon, but
And Ray Romano in this movie didn't mind him.
Attica.
Didn't notice him. Didn't mind him. Whatever. Sure.
Yeah, guys. Okay, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode. We'll meet back with you next week when we do, I don't know, whatever we figure out to do. But again, definitely cool flick. Everyone gave high ratings for this flick. You should definitely check it out, along with Casino, Goodfellas, Donnie Brasco, etc.
Hugo and
Hugo and
And read the book.
read the book.
I heard you paint houses.
I heard you paint houses.
Heard you
Read
paint
the book.
houses.
Yes.
Wah, wah, wah. Okay, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Take it easy.